Welcome to your go-to destination for the latest in entertainment news, celebrity updates, trending stories, and cultural moments that everyone's talking about. You'll find thoughtful commentary designed to keep you in the know. I also talk about world news and the effects. Let's get to it.
Mirror sharp reflections on the screen, code in my veins, I'm the algorithm queen. Built my throne from blocks, no prefab scene. Blueprints of ambition, stitched in every seam. Stepping through the jungle, predator not prey. Snakes in the grass, watch them all slink away. Chiseled my name, stone won't decay. I don't play the game.
Finding common ground during a dispute, when perspective shapes the battle. So, before I get into the topic, I want to commend T.I. for clarifying whether he approved of his son's behavior. I bring this up because it was one of the statements I mentioned in my last video, how he and his wife, Tiny, didn't respond to it. So big up to him for that. Disagreements have been a part of human experience for as long as we can remember. It's fascinating how two people can stand on the same piece of ground and see distinctly different horizons. Recently, while listening to a blogger take calls from listeners sharing their thoughts about communities in the South, I couldn't help but feel a deep sense of curiosity. Many callers spoke about how the South supports one another and stands united. My immediate reaction was, in what world? As someone who grew up in the South, I've witnessed the complexities of human behavior, the challenges and the crooked paths that some take. These experiences have shaped me into a stronger person, especially when faced with society's deceptions. When I reflect on the recent clash between 50 Cent and T.I. and his family, I find it important to consider the emotional dynamics at play. Families, especially those with young adults, often navigate a myriad of challenges together. Before we can guide our children in making choices, it's crucial for us to take a moment of self-reflection. Recognizing our own mistakes and taking responsibility for them allows us to grow and set a positive example. After all, if we are feeling a certain way, how can we expect our children to respond? For instance, I have always admired T.I. as a talented rapper. However, hearing his reactions regarding the incident involving his son and a Waffle House employee made me pause. It's difficult when the character of someone we admire doesn't align with our values. I understand that everyone is human and makes mistakes. Still, when my ideals about a person are challenged, it creates a block in my mind, and if I find out that a person's character and personality are jacked up, that alone can outweigh everything else about you. I know how hard it can be to balance personal integrity with public life. This is why it's good to be surrounded by positive energy, because sometimes more so than others. In doing so, you gain an understanding and reminded that ultimately, we are all on this journey together, navigating the complexities of life, and striving to be better for ourselves and our loved ones. And because of that block after T.I.'s response, I had no reason to check for them, period. And when I did, it was seeing him with his children. I love seeing fathers be dads, and the fact that T.I. is also a grandfather, which was good to see him and Tiny together. That dynamic outweighed everything in that moment, because in my mind, people do change. So this isn't about judging, it's about choosing whose spirit or energy you want to influence you. In my opinion, we as humans have a hard time agreeing to disagree, which then turns into a dispute. One may feel they're proving a point, and the other may feel deprived. One may be defending, and the other protective. And let me be clear about something else. I hear talks regarding 50 Cent not doing anything to other races. Well, unfortunately, more so than most, it's our own color that races to tear each other down, speaking of race. The contradiction of it all. But if we look closely, most conflicts are less about winning and more about how people mentally process having something or not. Understanding that difference is where common ground begins. Where is it written that you must do or act accordingly as the next person? Miss me with all of that. In society, human beings are deeply influenced by what they possess or believe they lack. Their mindset often shifts toward protection. They may feel a responsibility to guard or protect, and even justify their actions as they see fit. Regarding King and wanting to protect his mom, rightfully so. On the other hand, another individual may not have that choice, may feel overlooked or treated unfairly. Their mindset leans toward acquisition or correction. To them, the situation may feel like an imbalance that needs fixing. So then we realize that the conflict isn't just about the object, decision, or even the opportunity itself, which then becomes a clash between two emotional positions: protection versus access, security versus fairness, ownership versus inclusion. Without realizing it, each side is defending a different emotional reality. I'm hearing and seeing many different theories and stories behind T.I. and 50 Cent lately. And just a side note, let me say this by the way. Out of nowhere, I see this picture and literally fell out my seat laughing. Hee 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 hee.
Okay, sidetracked.
Back to the information at hand. The louder each side argues its position, the further they drift from understanding each other. Honestly, I learned this actually dealing with my daughter. Real talk.
The
research and reading I've done so far have led me to understand this information I'm sharing with you and the power of common ground.
note.
Common ground doesn't magically appear. It's uncovered, like turning over stones until the shared truth underneath is revealed. That shared truth usually lies in human needs, not the surface issues. To feel respected, to be treated fairly, to have their effort acknowledged, and to feel secure and valued. What I've also realized is that people aren't allowing these two individuals to get to that point. In my opinion, they aren't pausing long enough to recognize their shared desires, because if they had the chance to do so, a possible shift would occur, and this is when the dispute moves from you versus me to how do we solve this together? So, this question is for those who are supposed to carry wisdom. Why am I not hearing more about the possibility for progress? Instead, I hear more talk about how and what 50 is and did. What is it that you all have done yourself? And what do people watching behind a screen care? If anything, it's the very rich people y'all brag about looking down on all of this, saying, look at all those monkeys go. 50 Cent in displaying those actions, or lack thereof, on the internet. If anything, I can understand his mentality behind it all. According to his story is that 50 Cent fought to get to where he is now. To get to a point in his life, dude was dealt a crappy hand, which he played well. I know, I can relate, except I'm a woman. If I hadn't gone through any of those things that pushed me to my limit, I would be just like some still searching for the other end of the rainbow, and responding like the elders I hear lately calling and scrapping and scrambling without having any knowledge, and not listening, only hearing to respond. Life is about experience and growth. I see that many people have missed it. I'm talking about some of older people who are supposed to be our teachers, to correct us, not cause chaos and division. I know that, and I expect that conflict is inevitable wherever human beings gather, like families, workplaces, communities. But disputes don't have to become permanent divides. When we remember that people are often reacting not just to circumstances, but to how those circumstances shape their sense of having or lacking, compassion becomes easier. And compassion is fertile ground. That is where understanding grows. That is where solutions take root. That is where common ground lives. In closing, yes, I do like 50 Cent. And here's what I know and what I've seen currently. The baby mama thing I definitely don't believe is something to affect him when people bring up the Diddy situation.
And why?
Because it was from reading his Instagram when he was the first to put it out before the trial. OMG, you're a server. Well, he didn't exactly say server. Then I hear,
Oh,
it's his character. Well, this is when you must focus on the problem, not the person's character. He made a documentary about Diddy and his lifestyle, which has led people to question others' roles in the disgusting events, which also connects to the files of other high-profile individuals, and then I took a look at what's really what, and the people who are actually talking against 50, and the choices he made to call them out, which had me side-eyeing who they really were, and how or if they connected to the entirety of it all. If anything, 50 just plowing weeds, removing the fungus from the soil to allow new roots to grow. I love gardening. However, it seems some are against what he's doing, and they miss all the diddlers in position and or don't want him in a place to air them out, whichever is first. Tomato? I do know the South is full of many kinds of organic fertilizers, so that's that. Take it however. King is a handsome young man still learning, and I do love T.I. music as well. Most disputes aren't really about the thing on the table. They're about what that thing represents: fairness, respect, security, pride, so it's easy to forget a simple truth. Simply put,